Hi, lovely to have you here. Welcome to the Electro Revolution channel. My name is Michael and I'm a car and tech enthusiast. In this episode today, what I'll be talking about is a report released by AAMI called The Crash Index Found in July 2025. Now, this was a report released by an insurance company to inform us of what people are doing with the ADAS controls within their vehicles. Now, this is irrespective of EVs and ICE vehicles. It happens on both of those vehicles. So, who are AAMI? AAMI are a large insurer in Australia. They do all sorts of insurance, from car insurance to home and building, home and contents, CTP green slips, life insurance, income protection, even pet insurance. So they are a large insurer. They're actually owned by another company called Suncorp Group. And of course, we've got at least 50 different brands of insurance companies within Australia, and they're owned, or at least 75% of them are owned by 4 major insurers, and one of them is Suncorp Group. So that's the insurance that AAMI supplies. It's well known for its car insurance, so that's what we're focusing on here from this report. So why did they release this? Well, they released this information to the public to essentially tell us what people are doing with their ADAS controls. This report includes a survey of 2,000 drivers and 480,000 insurance claims over a period from February 2024 to February 2025. So it's of the claims that went through the AAMI insurance company, of course. So what are ADAS controls? ADAS essentially stands for Advanced Driver Assistance Systems. They're technology specifically designed to assist drivers in safely operating their vehicles, in essentially safely driving the vehicle. Now, some people, of course, don't agree with that. Of course, others do. Now, when 20% of Australian drivers, this is what the report found, were reported to disable one or more advanced safety systems, which is one or more of the controls in ADAS, that's 1 in 5 Australians. That's quite a lot. Now, that also means 4 in 5 Australians, of course, don't have a problem with ADAS controls and may not disable all of them, may just leave them as is. Now, unfortunately, a lot of these ADAS controls, what they introduce is bings and bongs. Now, you'll find many reviews of many of the latest modern vehicles with these controls in place. That's one of the things that the reviewers regularly say. It bongs too many times, it bings too many times, it makes too many noises, and all of these sort of things. Like, I know with the vehicles I have, if I don't have the seatbelt in, it basically generates an alarm saying you need to put the seatbelt in. Now, that's of course understandable. You should never be driving a car without a seatbelt on. But things like lane assist, for example, if you're just veering off the lane, it generates a noise, or generates a bing, or generates a bong. If you're going over a certain speed, for example, let's say you've got road traffic sign detection on your vehicle, it's saying it's a 70 zone, you go to 72, it does a bing. That sort of stuff, that can become annoying for some people. Now, manufacturers and the engineers that have implemented these controls within the vehicles, they're engineers. They implement the controls based on regulations by the various countries that implement these controls, and they require them. Now, you can't get a 5-star NCAP rating without all of these things included, unfortunately. Now, as I said, unfortunately, it does affect some particular drivers and they turn them off. So let's go through the ones primarily that they turn off. There's about 5 of the top 5 that people turn off, and we can then go through them one by one. Now, in terms of me personally, I use them and I don't turn them off. And especially for long distance driving. Let's say I'm on the freeway, or let's say I just did the road trip from Sydney, New South Wales to Phillip Island in Victoria. That's a very long road trip. I would say 90% of my driving time was not done without the automatic cruise control and the lane assist. Basically, all I had to do was put my hand on the steering, make sure that the car recognized that my hand is on the steering, and the rest I didn't have to do anything for. I didn't have to hit the brakes, didn't have to do the accelerator. I set the automatic cruise control to include the speed that I needed to go at, and that was usually 110 down the motorways. That doesn't mean I have to concentrate too much on the road. It means I can relax a bit while driving. I can either listen to some music, talk to my wife that's also in the vehicle, talk to the passengers of the vehicle, do that sort of stuff. So basically have a nice relaxing drive. Now I turn it off, of course, when I need to go to a rest stop, or I need to make a parking on the side or something like that. Of course, I wouldn't enable these automatic cruise control features and things like that, especially lane assist, when I'm in the suburbs or when I'm in the smaller towns where there's a lot of traffic. I don't see too much use of that. But nevertheless, AAMI didn't distinguish the difference between whether there's motorway driving and whether there's suburban city driving. Let's go through these. It says here, the commonly disabled systems were, number 1, the lane departure warning and lane keep assist. Now, that was turned off by 45% of the respondents. Now, as I've said, lane keeping assist and lane departure warning, these things I personally keep on the main motorways, right? But on the inner city streets and the suburbs, it doesn't bother me too much. Like, I do keep it on by default, but obviously with 45% of the respondents to the survey, that's a lot. That's a huge figure that turn off that. And of course, if you have these on or you have these off yourself, leave a comment. We can discuss it. We can see what your points of view are. Now, of course, there's positives and negatives to it. Let's go to the next one. Adaptive cruise control, 17% would disable that. Now, again, I wouldn't see too much benefit in enabling automatic cruise control in suburban and city driving. And it's funny that they say disabled, because adaptive cruise control, I don't believe is ever enabled in any vehicle by default. You would have to enable it first and then disable it. So it's quite a weird statistic, that one. But nevertheless, people that do disable it, maybe they want control of the vehicle if they're driving for, half an hour or 1 hour. But once it hits 2 hours and 3 hours without automatic cruise control, I think it's just increasing the stress. So I would agree with the people that keep it on for long distance driving, but of course not technically agree with the people that turn it off for those longer drives. The other thing we've got here, number 3, 70% of people disable parking assist. Now, I don't know if you use it. Sometimes I use it. I don't ever disable it. Sometimes I need it. Other times, most of the times, I don't really need it, because I can picture in my mind if I'm going to reverse park into a spot, or I'm going to park close to a wall or another vehicle. I don't remember, I don't think, ever hitting a vehicle in the front or rear. Nevertheless, I do, when they're tight spots, I do use it, especially the beeping sound, the noise detection. I find it quite good. Now, 17%, again, that's not like 1 in 5, that's a little bit less than that. But for the people that do turn it off, yes, it's possible that they could hit another vehicle if they're doing certain parking situations, like a reverse parking or a front parking, especially if the vehicle has a tow bar and they don't see it. Now, of course, with these ADAS systems, usually in these modern cars, you'll find cameras on the front and cameras on the rear. So it's not as important as it used to be to have the parking assist noise that's incorporated in these modern vehicles. So that was the end of the first episode. Now, the items we covered in this episode was the lane departure warning and lane keep assist. We also did the adaptive cruise control and the parking assist. So let me know your thoughts on the items that AAMI brought up, or this insurance company brought up, that my thoughts about it. Maybe you differ in those thoughts, maybe you have your own opinions. let us know in the comments. We're happy to share thoughts, exchange thoughts. Maybe I'm wrong in some areas. A lot of these things are subjective. So, nevertheless, I really hope you enjoyed this episode. If you did, please give us a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, share this content with someone who'd enjoy it, or just leave us a comment. It really all helps. So, until the next episode, I hope to see you then. Bye for now.